In this video we're going to be looking at rationalising the denominator. Firstly we're going to be looking at when there's one term in the denominator, and secondly we'll be looking at when there's two terms in the denominator. So firstly, when there's one term, we're rationalising the denominator, which means we are making sure that there isn't a surd in the denominator. There can be a surd on the numerator, but we want the denominator to be a rational number. So the way that we do that is, if we start with a, we've got 4 over root 3, and all we need to do is multiply top and bottom by root 3, by whatever the denominator is. So if we multiply top and bottom by root 3, we're not changing the value of 4 root 3. We're just changing the numbers, because if we times something by root 3 and divide it by root 3, we're essentially not changing it at all. But it will rationalise the denominator. So here we have 4 times root 3, which is 4 root 3. And on the bottom we've got root 3 times root 3, which is root 9, which simplifies to be 3. Let's do the same with part B. So with part B, there's an extra step here, because we're going to have to simplify. We've got root 6 over root 2. And again, we're going to multiply top and bottom by whatever the denominator is. So that's root 2. So root 2 over root 2, which gives us root 12 over root 2 times root 2 is root 4, which is 2. And we can simplify this root 12. That's going to be root 4 times 3 over 2, which is 2 root 3 over 2, and then these 2's will cancel, which just ends up being root 3. The final one, C, we've got two terms in the numerator here, but in terms of what we have to do, there's no difference. So we've got root 5 minus 1 over root 6. We're going to multiply top and bottom by root 6, and that's going to give us root 6 times root 5 minus 1. So we need to multiply both terms by root 6, and then 6 times root 6 is root 36, which will end up being 6. Just give myself a little bit more space. So root 6 times 5 gives us root 30, and root 6 times minus 1 is minus root 6, and that's over 6. That is as far as we can go with this. We could factor out a root 6, but it's not really going to simplify the top there, so we'll leave it as that, and we'll move on to the next type, which is where there are two terms in the denominator. Now the difference with this compared to the last one, if you remember, we were just multiplying top and bottom by whatever was in the denominator. So here we just did, it was over root 6, so we did root 6 over root 6. For the next one though, if we have a look at part A, we've got 4 over root 3 plus 2. This time we're going to times top and bottom by the same thing, but rather than using the plus, we're going to use minus. So whatever symbol is here, we're going to do the opposite when we're multiplying. So it's root 3 minus 2. And the reason why we're doing this is when we expand these two brackets at the bottom, we'll end up with no irrational numbers. Okay, so let's finish this off. So we've got on the top 4 times root 3 is 4 root 3, and 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. That's our numerator. And then our denominator, we've got root 3 times root 3, which is 3. We've got root 3 times minus 2, which is minus 2 root 3. Then we've got 2 times root 3, which is plus 2 root 3. And then 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. Here we've got two terms that cancel. That's the whole point of putting this plus and minus. This term's minus, this term's plus, they're the same, so they'll just cancel out. So we're left with on the bottom 3 minus 4, which is minus 1. So just finish this off then. We have 4 root 3 minus 8 over minus 1. Last one, we'll do part B. We've got 5 plus root 3, that's over 3 root 2 minus root 6. Now this one's different to the previous one, because in the previous one we just had a single term on top and it would just multiply both terms in the bracket. This time we're going to have a quadratic bracket, a double bracket on top. So we're going to times top and bottom by 3 root 2 plus root 6. So we're just doing the opposite sign here compared to what it was there. And then if we expand the top, we've got 15 root 2 plus 5 root 6 plus 3 root 6 plus root 18. And then we'll simplify that in a minute. On the bottom we're going to have 3 root 2 times 3 root 2, which is 9 times root 4, and 3 root 2 times root 6 is going to be 3 root 12. Then minus root 6 times 3 root 2 is minus 3 root 12, so they're going to cancel. And then root 6 times minus root 6 is minus root 36, which again is going to simplify. So on the top we have 15 root 2, and we have 5 root 6 plus 3 root 6, which is 8 root 6, plus root 18, which is going to simplify to be root 9 times root 2, which we'll simplify that in a moment. And then on the bottom we've got 9 times root 4, which is 9 times 2, so 18. Those two middle terms cancel out, and we have minus root 36, which is 6. So then the last, or second last line we're going to have is 15 root 2 plus 8 root 6 plus root 9 is 3 root 2 over 18 minus 6 is 12. And then these root 2 terms are going to add together, so we'll have 15 root 2 plus 3 root 2, which is 18 root 2, plus 8 root 6 over 12. And lastly we can simplify, because this 12 will cancel with both of those. We can divide it all by 2, which is going to give us 9 root 2 plus 4 root 6 over 6.